Hi, and welcome to another episode of the all new TTown 411 report. I'm your host, Darren McKinstry. Sorry for coming on so late. We've been in progress of making some changes and making some things happen. We're broadcasting live from right here in McKinstry Banquet Hall, located at 5480 Jug Factory Road here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And we're also broadcasting live on Soundproof Radio 106.1 with my good friend Mike Wilson. Mike, tell them how can they sound in on Soundproof Radio and Soundproof TV.
Sure thing, Daryl. Check us out on Soundproof Radio. Just go to your iOS or your Google Play Store, download the Live 365 app. Once you download that app, type in the search bar Soundproof Radio 106.1. That'll take you to the radio side of Soundproof Radio. To check us out on the video side, you can go watch us on Facebook or YouTube. Just type in Soundproof Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us on the video side of Soundproof Radio.
Well, as always, we have our very own Veronica Taylor, who provides us with the COVID update and chicken pop update. I'm trying to see if she merged in with us. Veronica, you there?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Hey, Daryl. Hey, Mike.
Great.
Hey, Chad. How everybody doing?
If you got an update, you can go ahead and just post it, or you could just read it out from there. It doesn't matter.
Can you hear me?
I do.
Okay, all right. I just put it in the comments, but the COVID-19 update. Well, last week, they updated on Wednesday. So on the 24th of August, which was last Wednesday, there were 26 inpatients within the DCH systems positive for C19. 5 or fewer were on the ventilator, 5 or fewer were in ICU, and 5 or fewer on BiPAP. Per New York Times, as of today, there's an average of 2,239 cases per day that were reported in Alabama as of last week, rather, during the last week. So 17, the cases went up by 17%. So we're going to hope and pray for those to go down, but they did go up by 17% as far as the New York Times states for the state of Alabama. The monkeypox update is that there are 18,417 confirmed cases, with 60 of those cases being confirmed for Alabama. And surrounding states their numbers have increased as well. Florida has 1,870, Georgia has 1,380, Mississippi 32, and Tennessee 176.
Okay. Well, as always, before we get started, we'd like to go ahead and just pray for everybody, as we always do. Just join us for a quick prayer, and we will get started. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come on the airwaves. We thank you for all your mercy and all your opportunities to come on and share information. Heavenly Father, we ask that you continue to look out for all our essential workers here out in the hospitals and throughout this country. We're still praying for our presidents, our governors and mayors and city council and commissioners. We ask that you continue to watch over them and their families. We're asking that we're praying for our own families and those that are amongst our audience tonight. We're praying for them, whatever they're going through, Heavenly Father. We're asking that you go with them. Right now, we want to pray for the families, that bereavement families that lost a loved one. Go with them and let them know that you're in charge, Heavenly Father. Your will has been done. Heavenly Father, we're also praying for the sick. We're asking that you go into the hospital and heal those that are going through whatever illnesses they're going to. And we're asking in Jesus' name that you heal them. Right now, Heavenly Father, we're praying for our families, each and every one of our families. We're asking that you continue to bless our essential workers at the nursing homes, praying for our police and fire and all the military personnel from Navy, Army, Marines, whatever branch. We're asking that you continue to watch over them. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray, amen.
Amen.
Really just get a chance to just want to say, hey, I thank everybody for chiming in each and every week. We just hadn't really had an opportunity to get set and going like we normally do on time, which I like to be on time about things, and I just want to apologize for everyone for that right there. We want to ask everyone just to forgive us as we go through a few changes. As some of you might have seen, I've gotten a security company up and running, and um, I've been blessed to come across a contract, or a couple contracts, matter of fact, and just going through the growing pains of personnel and personnel changes and all that good stuff. Sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for, Mike. Sometimes, you know, uh, I'm learning a lot. I've been certified on a lot of stuff regarding this security stuff, and hey, it's something I wanted. It's a talent that I have that I want to share and utilize. And right now, it's going through some changes, but hey, I'm still here and want to keep people informed and abreast about what's going on in our community, in the TTown community. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about Brian Robinson, who got shot in Washington, D.C. We're going to talk about Alabama football that's coming up. We're going to talk about the NAACP statement to our community about the young man, the young man that had the video that came across Facebook, and I'm praying for him. I really am. I'm praying for the mindset, to change the mindset of some of our people. I know it's tough, but we still got to continue to pray. And hopefully we'll get Lisa to call in and give us some information on updates on that. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. I don't have very many announcements. Anyone that has announcements that want to call in, please call in. I see a couple things that people put on the screen, so we'll talk from there. But we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and I'll be right back. Mike, Veronica, y'all stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, L.J. Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
Hello? Hey, Rick. I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother? I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. All I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Rib Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Well, once again, like I said, it was going to be a quick break, just a quick break, and we just want to make sure everyone know that we are back on the program live. So we do have a caller on the line, I do believe, Mike. If you're talking, you have a caller. Is that correct?
I do. We have Miss Lala on the phone with us.
Miss Lisa
Miss Lisa
Young.
Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing?
Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
Good.
All right. I just wanted to talk about the statement that the NAACP released um, about the video that was circulating.
Yes.
Because of FERPA, the school systems really don't discuss disciplinary actions with students, and that's fine. But we've had several incidences where there was I call it hate language used. And one of the things that I'm really concerned about is that this speech, while we want to be respectful of people's freedom of speech, you have to think about the how do that incite other people, right? So I had a mother to call, and what she said was she wanted to know what we were doing or if we had received an update because she had to keep her son at home because he went to school with that young guy. Um, and she was afraid that he was gonna hurt him because he was so outraged. Um, Another concern that I have is that the city school system knew about this video last week, and they did not even release a statement, knowing that it was circulating until we released our statement. The NAACP released their our statement. So, and we don't have to go into whether there's a difference in the way our kids are treated. We know that certain students from certain areas of town are punished more harshly than others. That we need something that's uniform, that's applied equally across the zip codes, that addresses the use of hate language. And not just the hate language. What he said was vulgar. It was vulgar. Um, and that is in the code of conduct. I think that was like a status 2 offense. But I noticed fighting would be a status 3. So if someone were to go, if that young man went back to Northridge and someone jumped on him because of what he said, they would be punished more harshly than he would.
Yeah.
And not to say that I condone fighting, but I can certainly understand how someone can become enraged listening to what he said. It's not okay. I also received notice of a disturbance at Hillcrest High School. Last week, Hillcrest played the Armwood Schoolhouse Club.
Mm-hmm.
They were circulating a ribbon with the hawk with a noose around their neck. And it looks pretty official, and you just have to wonder about the mindset of the administration that would approve such. So it's obvious that they're not concerned with culture sensitivity, racial sensitivity. It's almost like it's worse. It's getting worse. And it's my belief that it's getting worse because of the way it's punished. There are very little consequences for such behavior, and it has to be addressed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that when you start talking about some people getting a stern talking to and other people getting expelled or getting certain things taken away from them, there's a definite difference there. Didn't know about the situation with Hillcrest, but truthfully, it's not surprising. It's not. These are two predominantly, well, I would say predominantly white schools that they kind of feel the way they just above everything. So I'm like, really would like to know where their mind is at, where most of these kids' mind are at. Do they just think this stuff is funny, or do they truly feel this way? Because we do know that hate is a learned behavior.
Well, I think it's learned. I think that there are conversations around their dinner tables um, that are insensitive to certain demographics. I think that kids learn from us. I think these kids see, oh, you got somebody that would say, I want to shoot N words in Walmart, right? And she get charged with disorderly conduct. That there would encourage somebody because there is no real consequence to the behavior. Now, imagine had those two girls in Walmart been black and said they wanted to kill, they wanted to shoot up white people. You know good and well they would have been charged with a hate crime.
Well, they talk about cancel culture or whatever. And honestly, our culture today, and it's a fight from us to other officials to our presidents, and then some officials aren't paying attention. But if you notice in certain states, there's like a cancel culture of wanting to be anything to be taught about slavery. There's a cancel culture as far as sensitivity, racial sensitivity, sexual sensitivity. We just had the reverse of Roe versus Wade. And that's why when the young man did the thing on the back of the truck, and said what he said. And a lot of people downplayed that. And like I said, some punishment that people wanted was a little harsh. But that's why I say zero tolerance. Because when he did that, how do we know it didn't play into the kids of other kids' minds saying, well, to me, it's racial insensitivity, it's socioeconomic sensitivity, it's all types of insensitivities, but except when it comes to our people. So that's why I don't tolerate it across the board. Because if you're going to get mad about that, then people are going to say, well, y'all didn't get mad about that, or some of y'all are okay with that. I don't think it's right across the board. I know people are going to say what they say, and we know that to see you all say is learned behavior, but I don't think it's right across the board from that man, young man, to this young man. And they'll say, oh, he was just talking, he was just running off at the mouth. If you looked at the look in his eye, at the way that he said it, the tone he said it, the venom in the tone of his voice, he meant what he said, and he's been taught that. Yes, kids get to play in the doctor's office and they don't say anything until one parent snatches from the other one. And I'm not talking about just some people just protecting their kids. As soon as a little black kid comes along the play, they want to snatch him. As soon as the LGBTQ come in with their child, they want to snatch him from the play table. It's all types of sensitivities going on, but the only sensitivity that's overlooked is our insensitivity towards us. And we fight for all these civil rights. We fight for all the stuff that goes on. A lot of things that go on in the school system right now have been accomplished because of the fight of civil rights. But when it comes to sensitivity, it's always insensitive towards us. They don't even want to teach about slavery. They were calling it some other kind of relocation. Everything is sensitive, most sensitive towards black people, then women and LGBTQ. But it's always us. And the punishment for those who inflict any type of emotional or verbal harm is little to nothing. And that's why it keeps happening again. And we're just in a culture now where they're trying to act like anything people say is not offensive unless you're saying it against the majority, which is Caucasian male America. And that's because they are afraid of becoming a minority. It's not sensitive unless you say it towards them. And that's just the common thing. That's the truth. All insensitive all sensitivities are being wiped away unless it's regarding white male. All sensitivities are being canceled. Nothing is gonna happen. I mean, I hate to say that, but our own community has proven time and time again what's gonna happen. So when something like that happens, when he said, we already know what's gonna happen.
Well, Veronica, I think you're right. I think that it's a us problem.
Right.
But we got to start watching and being more active about who's the administrator at the school where our kids attend, who's the superintendent, who's the mayor, who's the chief of police, who's the superintendent at the school, who's the principals at these schools. And then when there is one of us in play, do they truly have the autonomy to be an authoritarian in that school? No, they don't.
No. Because
Because the only thing that
sometimes not even
happens,
other people. It's us. We won't take a stand for fear of losing a job. Everybody knows everybody needs to work. But sometimes things just need to be made public. You have some of us in positions who will fight against those who look like us instead of allowing them the opportunity to have a position of authority or a position of decision making that may benefit us. They're willing to give any and everybody else a chance except us. And that's when I say us, it's the us who aren't willing to give us a chance. Like you said, Lisa, none of us, when we do have some of us there, what do? We, nothing, nothing. So it's just like, why? Exactly, exactly.
You know, I'm dealing with an issue with that right now. Whereas you have somebody that's upset about what I said, and I'm gonna say his name, Hayes Well. So he sent he sent some of us to tear down my name because I called the thing a thing. But you know, I ain't supposed to stand up to him. I shouldn't have that type of nerve. You don't have that authority. I can't speak. Um, you know, you can't sit there and tell him that his office made a decision that wasn't right when them girls were charged, and what they did was they bounced around the responsibility as to who decided who was charged with. Nobody wanted to take responsibility. But what I told him was, had those girls been black, they would have found something more severe to charge them with. That's what I said to him. He said, not my office. Yeah, I'm talking about your office. When I get contacted by a mother who says her son was arrested on some BS because her other son was shot, and they arrested her other son out of fear of retaliation. You know, that's just one incident. You know, they act as if you don't know what you're talking about or you're unaware of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But you know, when they find out, oh, but she do know what's going on, you try to destroy my name, but he don't do it. He let other folks do it for him. And the nerve of anybody to go and talk about my name, to put my name in their mouth. And they really haven't had an interaction with me. It's based off of something this white man said. He's saying that I'm divisive because I stand up for my people. Mm-hmm. I have a position. Oh, because I'm not like other people that say, oh, okay, then if you say it's okay, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Because you know what's happening? Our people are traumatized. They're walking around traumatized. They're afraid. You know, when you have people saying, I'm afraid to go here or there, you know, do you think that them girls really will shoot somebody? Yeah, I really do. I really do.
Lisa, I had a few people say they hadn't seen the video. I got it pulled up if you want me to show it right quick.
If you can show it, but it's also on my Facebook page. I want them to see, and when they watch it, I want them to see how when he said the N word, he leaned in and said it as if it was the most disgusting thing that he could think of to say.
Okay, here we go.
Sister is a class with me where I fuck her and get head from her every day. Bitch, nigger.
Okay, that's mighty fast. I'm gonna see it one more time. Let's see.
Sister has a class with me where I fuck her and get head from her every day. Bitch, nigger. Sound like a baby. All that venom and all that hatred sound like a baby. Voice ain't got no bass in it yet. Well, what he sound like, I ain't gonna say because it would be considered derogatory to a group of people. But I doubt if anybody female doing anything with him. And not now. But I want y'all to go to his mama Facebook page and see who she friends with. And you'll see why they were slow moving.
So really, I don't even know who the person is as far as the name of the. Now, I guess it's not, since he's a juvenile, not good to put it out there, but you could share it inbox or whatever.
Oh well, let me put his name out there.
But like I said, we don't know if that's all right to do it if he's a juvenile. That it might be some legal ramifications with that.
Okay? So I'm gonna put a ledge. But here's the thing: when you put it on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't claim your privacy has been violated. He put it on social media.
How did y'all come across it?
Kids were sharing. It was people sharing it. One mother told me she went through her son's phone and saw it in his phone. But if another child got mad about it and confronted him about it, then that would be to them that's what's not tolerated.
Okay. So I got some more video footage. Hold on, let me see if I can get all of it played at one time.
Exactly, Daniel Van Horn. He would have been expelled or banished to the alternative school had he been black.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see can I play this right quick for we can all see the severity, or I guess you can say the less severity of consequences of incidents. If I can get that pulled up one more time, one more time. Let's see, can I find that there? Share the screen.
So do we know what has happened to the young man right now?
We don't know, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna form so you can do youth groups with the NAACP. I would like to have one in every high school, and these kids will be able. They'll know if these individuals show back up at school or anything like that, because what they use, the administrators use FERPA as a excuse to not make public addresses.
Okay. Let me cut you
Yeah,
off right. Let me cut you off right quick before we go into that. Now I'm gonna play something right quick and see if this would everybody getting bringing everybody up to speed to what you're talking about, Lisa. Here we go. This is Jersey Classic and Ron. Fuck her and get head from her every day. Bitch. Nigger. Kill all the black children inside. Watching their brains explode from the inside. You're from Alabama, North Shore. Yep. Yeah, that's really nothing. This bitch. Is still carrying my shoot a nigger. This bitch. Nigger. This bitch. My mom was there. Those are the incidents that you're talking about that's taking place within the last six
Few months.
within the last 6 months, of course. And the outcome of some of these incidents, has it been made known to the community? I mean, some of it, I understand you saying that school regulates the discipline of the students and don't have to share that information. Have we got an update on the young ladies at Walmart? Have we got an update on the young man that was planning to shoot African American men or people.
No updates. No updates at all. I tried to make an appointment to see Dr. Daria. Um, I'm sorry, Mike Daria, and he told his secretary said he would not be available until Friday of this week.
But we have city school officials, city board school officials, African American, and all of them who should be bringing this to his attention. And if the proper punishment is not handed down, they should be more vocal. That alludes to what you were talking about earlier, Lisa. We have people who you would think would speak up and not be so timid and broke down and to not express what needs to be expressed. He's the superintendent, but we have a board.
The very moment that escalates into almost a race war, first of all, anybody who's black is going to be considered the aggressor there, and then secondly, it's going to be like it was not necessary because they had already taken care of it. It was a person.
But we don't know that.
But believe it or not, y'all, they did a poll on how many Americans think that there will be a race war within the next few years. 65% of Americans believe so. That lets you know that it's not just us running our mouths. This is what they're learning at home. This is what they're hearing right at home. They're being taught to be racist bigots. That's what they're being taught to be. If 65% of those polled, and you know they were adults, believe that there's a race, even one of the media people stated it from Alabama. If that's what they believe, then what do you think their children and grandchildren believe or are being told?
Or where they getting it from?
Mm-hmm. So he's superintendent. So what happened with the situation that involved someone he was very close to? Now, the board needs to stand up because if it's left to him, it's not going to be anything done. Period.
And you know, we have our board is comprised of 4 or 5 African Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have a majority there.
You know, if our kids are not being treated equally, they have the authority and the power to remove the superintendent and put in leadership that we. Mm-hmm. I mean, reverse the roles. If our superintendent was black, and there were continued occurrences that was demeaning to white, there's no they would demand that he be removed. They would demand it.
I think some have been removed for this.
You know,
or given the opportunity to step down.
Or given the opportunity to step down. But we act as if our kids don't have, our kids are treated as if they don't even have feelings. Like they're walking around traumatized, and we always sit up and say, what's wrong with these kids? There's nothing wrong with the kids, they're watching us.
So
they have no faith that anybody's going to do anything to help them.
Can I be honest though? I think that a lot of people probably even, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but I think there's some people that really and truly never even heard or seen that particular video. When they see it, they would be outraged at what they saw. Just like with the 2 girls, just like with the other kid at the other school before school got out. Look, school just been in for 3 weeks, and then this is happening. This is crazy. This makes little to no sense at all that we're going through this once again. Now, it was on Facebook, I guess. I don't. Did he share it on any other social media platform? Just Facebook?
I'm not sure. I don't know, but kids have the videos and some parents have the video.
But then we don't get. the problem that I have is the outrage that we'll show, and this is for almost anything that we get outraged over. I say we because it always happens this way. 2 weeks at most, and then you hear nothing else about it. You don't say a word else about it. It didn't pass over, and the people that are in positions of leadership, I think they bank on that stuff. They think, oh, they'll be upset for a little while.
Most definitely.
But you have someone like Lisa who is checking into it, who does continually check on it, and she's labeled divisive.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not enough of us joining her to check on it, to question it. Like I said, whatever happened to the little boy over there? The young man, how old was he? 18, 19? What happened to him? 17? If you don't say anything, it'll be stuck on the road. He'll be over there at the UA or whatever college you want to go to, or riding around here working and being a plumber at somebody's house. And you can't even trust him. Oh, no. They just slip up under the radar because they don't say anything about what happened. And as soon as people start talking about it, it's done. It's nothing. If nobody has said anything about those young ladies, the charge that they got wouldn't even been brought.
Well, think about it like this. When we had a school official whose son logged into the system and changed grades for his friends, that was punishable by arrest.
But he knew he had that protection. He knew he had protection. He knew he had protection. That's why this culture is changing. They're afraid of losing that protection, that inert protection that they've had, that privilege that they've had for so long is being questioned. But they're still using it, and they're still trying to flex it to let us know, hey, we still got it. However long we have, we're going to use it. Because he should have been done just as way and treated the same way any other student would have been treated. That's why I say, I know what's going to happen. They're going to protect their babies. You know, they're 21, 22 years old and they're babies. We call ours babies. And he was big. He was dark. He was all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We gotta stop being so cliquish and I'm gonna support this person and not support this person. If it's a cause that affects one of us, it affects all of us.
Mm-hmm. And my thing is, a lot of times people will say, because I've said it before about certain situations, well, if you let one of us get in there, it's not going to be this, and up. Well, for number one, when one of us get in there, we go in there at a disadvantage because those who don't look like us are already planning ways to get us out of the position, and those who look like us are pet dogs for them.
Exactly.
And so if one of us does do wrong, so what? How many other people have done wrong in positions? It's just like we were talking about It's just like we were talking about you go to a restaurant. Okay, you go over here to Longhorn and you see a roach. How likely are you to go back within a month? About 90%. But you go over here to one of the melanated owned restaurants and see a roach. Now, I ain't been back over there since they had their roaches on there, that so and so. How long has been since been over there? A year. Okay, Longhorn had rats. They were talking about rats over there. How long have you been over there?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Look, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
But we do each other bad, But I think that, I'm sorry, y'all. To point your lips against somebody when they done absolutely nothing to you, just because somebody else said that person is this and that person is that, you gotta be mighty weak. You gotta be mighty weak. So you can't even get mad when somebody don't even have respect for you.
Right, and why not give us a chance? Like you said, Lisa, everybody makes mistakes, and depending on the mistake, yes, you don't always remove a person from a position, but then again, some mistakes you do. It just depends on the mistake. But why is it whenever one of our people is attempting to get a position, they're already, like I said, the wheels have turned. Yes, we're gonna let them in there. We're gonna have to get them in there so that we can show, so it can appear a certain way. But then as soon as they get in there, we're already thinking of a way to get them out. Then I saw a particular post on social media today talking about you don't have to agree to do whatever. Well, you don't have to agree, but don't tell me somebody don't know something and then you put them in a position of authority when all this time you've been saying they don't know something, and then it's clear somebody else doesn't know something and you fight to get them the position. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm out the loop. Sometimes you have to tell me because I'm out the loop, y'all. I'm gonna just be honest. I've been sleeping and working and sleeping.
I'm not completely in the loop myself, to be honest with you, Daryl.
I
But
think
It's just
to
we're talking about putting
summarize,
people in positions. Why can't we need more people who look like us in positions, but not who just look like us, but who have the guts enough, the integrity enough to stand on what's right.
Oh,
now,
okay.
I was just going to say, because we got people that look like us in positions, but
And don't have the integrity to stand for what's right.
that's exactly what I was going to say. They get in there and they want to hold a seat. They want to hold a position because they want to be able to say that I am the this, I am the that. But they don't work for anything to even better what they're supposed to be making better. I'm not gonna say city council. I'm not gonna say city board because I ain't trying to get them kicked off tonight. But
And to be honest, Mike, it's not just them; it's other organizations within this community
yeah,
who should be real concerned with equality, equal rights. Except, but they're only concerned with that when it's time for a vote, and they're not concerned with it then. They only portray concern when it's time for a vote or it's time for something that they need. Then it skins and grins and all in your face. We need people who are going to be stand on integrity. People who are going to stand, who won't stand for anything.
well, it's like anytime I'll put it like this: in a couple of years when it's time for these local elections again, watch and see how many people you see that you don't see normally
mm,
in some of these churches attending, going on sides of town that they never go on because hey, we care about you too. So they gonna be all on the west side. They're gonna be on the south side. They're gonna be everywhere, attending these churches and I'm talking about sitting in on the service and everything. Not like other people who right now they go to stuff for photo ops and then they stay there less than 5 minutes.
and we got somebody that do that right now.
I know. I ain't saying no names.
I ain't gonna say no name. I ain't gonna say no name, but they on the city council. She got two of them. They'll show up, take a picture, and they out the door.
Matter of fact, they clock stay running every time they come because they have another engagement that they have to get to. But they're gonna make sure they get that photo off. That's the stuff that we just time out for because like if we see it, I guarantee you we just did a youth alliance meeting and most of our youth said the same thing. They see the same things we see. And you wonder why some of these folks can't get through to them. That's one of them. They see a lot of hypocrites in the
Oh, the hypocrisy is absolutely ridiculous. You know, you sit up and again do the bidding of other folks. And here's the thing: why don't you let some of these folks speak for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Let some of these
Mm-hmm.
folks speak for themselves. Why you gotta be their mouthpiece? They'll sit there and let you open your mouth, run your mouth, um, basically because they know you silly enough and dumb enough that you'll sit up and throw your own people under the bus just to say you sitting at the table instead of you trying to prepare your own table.
Mm-hmm.
think that's like pop. They so happy to have that little seat at the table that they're not doing what they need to do with that particular seat, and that is trying to, bring everybody else to the table.
But here's the good thing. If they just realize that we all stuck together, the way everybody else stick together, that Tuscaloosa, every entity in Tuscaloosa will be reflective of the city of Tuscaloosa's population. And we just went through the census. We know what the city of Tuscaloosa population is.
But it's not like it's impossible. We see what happened in Georgia. It's not like it's impossible. We see what happened in Georgia on a state level, which affected the federal level, which helped it tremendously helped our federal level. We see what being on one accord can do, but you got so many people who want to be with the clique, and they can't even tell you why they're voting against their best interest. They just know that the person they're voting for may have something, may be able to rub the back of their hand in some type of way, and they can rub the back of their hand in some type of way. So they'll be willing to put somebody in a position who's not qualified, but then at the same time, when we want representation, they'll take somebody who they know that represents us that's not qualified. So they play games with us and put a person in a position that they know they don't respect, that they know they normally wouldn't put in that position, but for show and tell.
Well, y'all said
But it
y'all
don't
made
even have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, like,
What were you saying, Daryl?
I just said they said it. I mean, that makes sense. I think the Herschel Walker situation is prime example.
Exactly. And they did that because of what happened. See what happened? They flip. I'll say we, but they at the Georgia flip Georgia. And look at what they're using, who they're using to flip it back. Unqualified, non-qualified, but looks like us. So we're used to benefit them. And a situation like that happened this weekend. Hell, I just got to see it happened this weekend. And that's why I say it's not even just the city council and the school board. It's a lot of these organizations that are around here who are supposed to be fighting for equality and have some sense of integrity.
they ain't got it.
Put a person in a position who clearly, at the showing, didn't know a lot of anything, has had time to learn a little bit. It just kind of goes with the flow of what somebody says or tells them. Then to qualify quote unquote fair representation, put somebody in a position that looked like us that they know wasn't qualified. And I ain't trying to knock the person. I ain't saying nothing against the person because the person that did look like us wasn't qualified. But it's all about cliques, and who can do what to help me to further whatever I'm doing in my life, not the lives of the community or everybody, or at least the majority.
But here's the thing, Veronica. No one is trying to get over anybody. We're just basically trying to make everything equal.
Exactly.
And
that's what I say all the time. Fairness across the board. Fairness. We know that it'll never be accomplished, but it can be better. It can be a whole way lot better than what it is. Because it's just like we're talking about these cases with these schools. Had these been African American kids, alternative school, expulsion, at least a maximum suspension. But we have a city board makeup that can address these issues that's going on with these schools, even when the superintendent tends to overlook them.
And they had authority to remove him. They had authority, they can remove him.
And then when one does have the integrity to do so or to question so, you're not gonna have a consensus. You're not gonna have the rest of them gonna follow it. Oh, you've been doing a good job, boy. Yeah, because you sitting there getting your little check, no matter how little or how small. Don't nobody tell me money don't matter in 2022. Let somebody give me an extra $300 just to go sit somewhere 2 or 3 days a week. That money matters.
Amen.
That's a car note. That's a portion of somebody's mortgage. That's your power bill. That's your water bill. It's something. It matters. They ain't letting it go. They keep running. They ain't willing to let it go. So it matters. And it seems like that's all that matters because when you look at the records are crappy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always lose. Even when it comes down to a vote, you can always lose. But let your vote stand. Let your vote speak towards your integrity. And sometimes your vote's not going to be the way we want it, but those who are meant to represent us, let your vote most of the time stand for integrity. Stand for what's right. Stand for betterment.
Yeah, I've never seen in my life somebody who get along as much as our city council get along. Honestly, I have. I mean, I can probably count as many times I've seen them not be unanimous
Facts.
on the votes.
Facts, Mike. Now go up there to the Belton City Council. Shit. Excuse me, y'all. Go up there to the Belton City Council. Because them folks is fighting for their districts. Them folks be fighting. You ain't finna see all this patting on the back and TTT and KKK.
Well, what's interesting about that is, if you notice, um, no one from districts 1 and 2 ever vote no in other districts are trying to secure something for their district. Under
For what?
But they always, but them other ones will always vote no when you try to secure something for your district.
Hmm.
So I don't even understand. I mean, I'm not on the council, but my thing would be, I ain't supporting you if you can't support me.
I don't know for sure, but this is my opinion, and and I'll probably get rose for this, but my opinion is somehow, shape, form, or fashion, the other folks get up, and you know what? We're gonna put y'all stuff on the back burner for right now, and we're gonna get our stuff taken care of. And once we get everything taken care of over here, then we'll come back around to your stuff. So just vote for us. And for some reason, they go along with it.
That's like
And they never get back around to us.
Yeah,
Like,
we never get. They never get back around to that them two districts at all. That's
and
because
to propose that is insulting to even propose it to them out that way. But that's what they do because that's what they can do.
I feel like that's what they're doing. Listen, I'm 46, gonna be 47. Tuscaloosa on the other side of town. I honestly cannot remember too many different things over there. I remember Southern Burg getting torn down, and they putting up a CVS and a Rite Aid, and I also remember putting up a Dollar General. Other than that, do I remember anything else on the west side? I can't even remember them doing a ribbon cutting over there on the west side in I can't tell you how long. When they tore down the old sweet taste and all that stuff and built up that new little thing over there, there wasn't no ribbon cutting over there. But let them go and put we finna put a new Jacks up in Alberta. And that, what I'm saying, not trying not Alberta, but because it's where they put it in Alberta on University Boulevard. Ribbon cutting, everybody out there, all of them, all the city council and the mayor out there laughing, grinning. We got a new establishment. It's all based on who you know. What have our city council people done in District 1 and 2 to say, okay, well, we bringing this over here to this side of town. We having a groundbreaking ceremony. We're gonna have a ribbon cutting when they open up to make sure that everybody knows it's open. We want everybody to come out and support it.
Ain't me,
It
y'all.
hasn't.
They tell them to come on over to Alberta so they can get in the picture. Because they won't be in one over there on the west side for the same reason.
Yes, sir.
And we had some strong representation.
Yeah, tell me, have they invited anybody to come to the groundbreaking of the new Barnes branch? I ain't gonna get it started. I'm just asking.
Well, it's in the making, ain't it? I guess. I guess.
So
No need to have a groundbreaking when the ground already been broke.
anybody of influence gonna be at the groundbreaking of the new Barnes branch YMCA with the gold shovel and all that good stuff. Them turning the ground over. Especially because Center House is a parking lot right now, so what they gonna turn over? I'm just asking. We just supposed to be happy with what we get.
We supposed to be happy with what we get. I mean, is that what we're saying? Man, we just gotta get it. We gotta get them money while they getting it to us.
Oh my God.
I don't care where they put it.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, we don't have to settle. We don't have to settle. But when you mention about the difference in what the developments in the western cluster and the northern cluster, I think it's very interesting that when the first talk first started about the Western Riverwalk, there had not been anything mentioned about the Savings Center or that Northern Riverwalk. The Northern Riverwalk damn near completed. What have they done with the Western Riverwalk?
Oh no, they put that on the back burner. They're gonna start with the Northern Riverwalk first. He said that.
Wait a minute, I said when it first got started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they decided to put it on the back burner. But you through with that one? And it's eyes. I think we ought to all get in a truck, in a bus, and go over there.
Yeah, because when they come over here on the west side, we ain't gonna be allowed over there.
When they got the grant for it, when they got the grant for it, did the grant mention anything about the Northern Riverwalk? When they initially got the grant? I mean, like, why is our stuff always on the back burner?
Like you said, bust up and start going over there. They'll come over here and get it. They'll start doing it then. Because they legally can't tell you can't come there. What are they gonna do? It's only for the residents of this area, and that area. That's a private. You can't privatize it. So start going up over there. Then they'll quickly get over there and try to do something and make sure that what they do is up to par and not just thrown together to get you from over there. Sometimes you have to get by any means necessary to get what's right. Start going over there, patronizing and having the parties and whatever gatherings you can have to get up over there. It's not private. So they want to make sure that it stays the way they want it, which is obvious. Then that may put a little heat up under them to go ahead and do what they're supposed to do on the western side of town. But don't just let us do no anything. It's got to be up to par. Because if you notice in the past, that's always how it is. Whenever you're allowed to um, patronize their premises by law, then changes are made, things are built over your way. So you can stay over your way.
Mm.
Yeah, but I don't think I think that once they start from the on the Western Riverwalk, so they gonna move a lot of people who've been staying over there for years out. That's a way to gentrify that area. Because the only thing that you always talk to the mayor, the city council, when they speak of that, or anything in District 1 and 2, the only thing they always talk about is the infrastructure. that they're working on over there. Stuff that you can't see. But now, when you talk about stuff over downtown area, university area, or whatever, well, we got to work on the infrastructure, but they're steady building condos and apartments, four by ones and five by ones. They fix the infrastructure as they go along. Tell me why you can't do that on the west side. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they can't put any more affordable apartments over there. I think schools don't. The last one they could put over there. But what's wrong with fixing up some of the ones that's already over there? And I ain't not necessarily talking about Mackenzie Court. Mackenzie Court look nice and everything over there, but it can something be done with the old Robson Garden. I honestly do not remember ever there being a renovation in that building. And that building was built in, I think you said it was 61. And I think it was something like that. And the people who own the building is not even from here. Just like Oregon somewhere. The turnaround time for someone to move out of Robson Garden and another person moving in there is probably less than 2 weeks. And this is stuff that I've seen myself. That's just one place. They can do a little bit more with Hayes Court. They're not trying to build up any of these low income housing. They just kind of once again, let me give you somewhere to stay, so y'all need to just be happy.
It's just because people won't hold people accountable. It won't hold people accountable from the young man to everything that goes on in the city.
Absolutely. That's what I just want to say. That's getting back to anytime one of our young people get in trouble, we will throw the book at them, and you know what? They should have been in jail anyway. They hadn't been walking the street, they wouldn't have been able to do this crime that they did, or say the things that they can see it or whatever. Once again, there had been a young black man, um, a little young black boy, young black girl. Immediately, they know they're going to alternative school, but they're probably going to be on some sort of probation first. They're probably going to get a couple of weeks out of school.
Watching you being divisive.
Well, the truth is the truth.
Mm.
It ain't like I've seen that too. And you don't have to go through the court system and get all this stuff done if you a young person of color. But on the flip side, we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Like this is to me, and I don't know what they did with this last person. I have no idea. I don't know what they did with the second dude. I really don't know what they did with those two girls. But I can tell you one thing: they did not do what they would have done to if they had, like Veronica said, militant in their skin. If they were black or brown, they would all have been just prosecuted to the fullest extent. It probably would have been not one, not two, but three hate crimes that we're talking about right now in the city of Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
But all three of them, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, often I am. I could be. I just say this. All three of them, it seemed like they was like, y'all don't do that no more. We know y'all was just having fun, going about your business. That's what it looked.
They met up and set aside the other church. I'm sure they party, sleep, entertain, family get-togethers, and all get together. Nothing goes on with them. And if it does, I bet you if you would ever be able to check their record, it wouldn't be there.
Oh yeah, oh that's extreme. That's why she got that That's why those two girls got misdemeanors.
Mm.
That stuff can come out in a minute. Community service.
And it doesn't hurt them in the future. You know, they remain employable.
Mm-hmm.
But now, imagine.
Yeah, if she had been a felon, she would have had to leave that nursing program.
Mm-hmm.
And what would have been the excuse? Hey, we don't want her to mess up her future, but you don't mind messing up a little black girl or a little black boy future who might be doing the same thing.
But our people are more concerned about how many colleges a young man is going to go to that call the other side of town. Well, like I said, to a lot of people that wasn't a lot. But my thing is zero tolerance, and it was the truth. But it was the truth because of city leadership. Honestly, it was the truth because of city leadership. But some colleges dropped that young man. But that's because we made us think about it, and it got kind of out there. But it seems like lately they've been doing all they can to quell things so that it won't get out there. Because that's what they do to protect their youth who do things that they shouldn't do. They protect theirs to do things they shouldn't do. Ours is straight off to the boys' home, groups home, detention in jail, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say, regardless of how you feel about it, it's across the board. It's not going to be tolerated. Had it been against the Asians, as Congress showed, laws would have been passed. But whenever it's against us, there's less sensitivity involved. The insensitivity is off the Richter scale when it comes to our people. Had he said something, had he called an offensive name referring to Hispanics or Asians, though I think they would have still protected him in the end, I think they even would have showed a better show of force about it. But he said the N word, which is why I've told our young people forever, it does matter. Being okay with somebody saying that, guess what that does? It causes insensitivity towards it. And that's what's basically happened. Can y'all remember 10, 15 years ago? They ran a hey my this, hey my that, and our kids with it. And I'm like, no, you got even some Caucasian Americans that even know that's not correct at any time. At any time. But our young kids and some of our parents, our age, well, that's what the kids doing now. And guess what that causes? Insensitivity. Then when it gets to the place where it's out of control, we want to say something. Well, 15 years ago, we allowed them to let that be okay. To be running around here giving dap, hollering, my. I'm like, what you say? But that's what the kids say. Everybody be saying it. But then when something it comes up in a much more derogatory way, how can you say something if you're letting them say it's not no, it's just like when you saying the B word. Amongst friends, maybe two women will call each other that. That's their business, that's in the privacy of their own conversation or whatever. But they're not outside in the public calling each other that. But a lot of these young ladies started doing it because a lot of times people just got okay with it. Stop checking them, stop correcting them. Now they out here doing it in a playlist. Just wasn't even just the music, because for the B word been in the music for a long time, years. But this okaying it to the level that it's okay now is most recent years. When you're talking about women having a conversation, or you hear two young ladies in the Walmart, big. I'm like, how can you be so upset when a man calls you that? You have the right to be, but have some public respect for yourselves. You want to say that stuff at home or whatever, but you know, this is like anything. When you start saying it enough, you ain't gonna care where you at. You gonna say it. So like I always say, if you're using incorrect English, it's okay to say ain't. I mean, who does? It's okay to say some of these things, but when you use all this in styles, word of tongue, word of speaking. You get to write that stuff on your application. You get to type that stuff in the computer when you're doing your application. And you get somebody on the other end sitting back at a desk looking like either they're not gonna take you or they're gonna take you and put you in a position that they really not important to them anyway. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're looking for people to fill those spots because they're looking for people who don't want to be promoted. They're looking for people who will just do the dirty work and be content doing it for a long time. And you putting on your application, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? I'm like, that's them because don't tell that man about he feel you when you interview with them. Because now he don't feel you. Words literally mean, look up feel in the dictionary. That's what they literally mean. They're not talking about the street term. Even if he's a street dude, they're just interviewing you. Because that's what he's got to supervise. And that supervisor, if he is anything about his job, that supervisor's going to want to know who he's hiring. So I'm going there telling him, no, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Don't go in that interview telling him that. And they think that you're trying to talk down to him. You're not trying to talk down to him. I didn't say go go in the interview and say ain't. So I ain't saying go in the interview and say you're true. Some things are just have been normalized so much to the fact that they're in the dictionary. But I'm talking glean. I'm talking about don't go in there talking about you see what I'm saying. You feel me twirling on your dread, smacking your gum.
Yeah, I saw that on Judge Mathis a couple of times, and it didn't go well for that person in the.
Judge Mathis doesn't want to hear all that. You don't even call that ebonics. He don't want to hear that. It's like we have to hold ourselves to better. I'm not even saying higher standards. And so that's where everybody feels like you be judging. No, just hold yourself to better standards. And then the thing about us when we grew up, y'all, we knew how to turn it on, even if it was from our friends' side parents. We knew how to turn a certain dialogue and dialect off and on. When to use it, when not to use it. From in your home to in school, from at home, from in school to amongst peers. These children say it to their parents just like they're speaking it to whoever they hang around in the streets. So if they ain't saying it no different for their parents, then they ain't saying it no different when they go get an interview. They ain't saying it no different when they at school. Then teachers having hard problems with them because it's just a lot, and people think it doesn't matter, but it does matter. And then, so that's when I say all that, I say it to say this. You may have some kids who, even though they shared that video because they knew it would get attention, there are some kids who were sitting there laughing. Mm-hmm. That look like some little black kids that sat there and laughed and probably didn't think nothing of it because they're becoming desensitized, and that's what they want. That's what this angry culture that's running around here now trying to act like basically like blacks like there was no time for slavery. Almost like where did blacks come from? Next thing you know, they'll be saying, well, where do they come from? And we know all blacks didn't come from Africa during slavery time, but the majority of the ones in the United States did. A lot of them did. You know, you had these other people who, of course, they're woke. They're talking about the indigenous people. Yes, some of those people were black, but some of them, was mixed with something else. But yes, still some of them were black. But you have a lot of woke folks. That's why I'm like, whether you woke and feel like we're from here or from wherever, we are still black. And still here arguing amongst each other about the well, we came here. I see so much of that going on right now. What does it matter where we came from? You need to be matter. We need to be thinking about how we're being treated.
Part of that, what school they're going to also, believe it or not, I've been seeing like little black kids going to like some county schools that predominantly white, and as they're in there in those predominantly white classes, and they don't interact with other people of their own color, they tend to start looking at the people of their own color like, yeah, or they're fearful of them because they don't understand them. Um, and then when they get into a place where there's a multitude of black people, what I'm saying, they don't know how to act. And those would be those little kids that you like, they acting real goofy. They act like they white or something like that. Because they just ain't used to being around. And I think that's a real big thing also. That's it, they try to conform you to their culture. in some of these schools because they don't have no little black kids. So what for? We gonna teach y'all the way that we learn everything. I've seen it.
What's sad to me is that I know some of these kids laughed at it, and if you ask some of them that look like us, was anything wrong with it, other than maybe him being mad at a particular person that they may like. If you ask them what else was wrong with it, they can't tell you. They might not even say nothing about the fact that he said the N word. And even though it's not right, and us as adults know, and even some of these younger people know that, okay, you don't say that word. But then what are they gonna say? What's there gonna be a scapegoat? Well, y'all been letting us say it. Y'all been cool with us saying it. And you have some of us who we can't convince that they should not be using that word.
I don't know too many black people that was ever cool with nobody white saying that. But
Mike, maybe you don't. You say you deal with young people, right? Lisa, do you see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the time. My this, my that, dapping each other up. And maybe I don't know if you ain't been up north or out southwest. It's all the time. Media has even spoken on this. How can you say a word is wrong when you are allowing it to be used and you're using that word in general conversation with the other race? They're allowing it. That's why I say some of these kids probably just laughed at it. They didn't even take the N word from it. They might have taken the him being the other, but I bet you he knew what the N word meant and he knew it was derogatory because they're being taught. But then you have a culture, just like they want us to say it's okay with calling women B's and H's. You have a culture of young people. That's why I was just speaking up earlier. What's up, my? What's up, my? They're greeting each other with it. I've seen it happen. They're greeting each other, so they're cool with it. They're cool with it.
what I said was, I don't know that many folks that do that stuff. Most of the black people I know is like, you can mess around and say that if you want to, you're gonna get frozen.
Well, that's true. That's us. That's our peers. Yeah, but these younger people. See, if we're talking about this young man, we're talking about this young man. We're talking about this young man. So I'm talking about people. Even when I say peers, I'm talking about 30 and under, 35 and under. I've seen people going to work. It's Mercedes. What's up, my going to the high school graduation last year, just recent years. What's up, my saying it out loud. And then people my age looking at them like, but then you got the young black dude walking, pulling his hands up, saying the same thing to him, reaching over that. But then when it does cause an outroar, then they oh yeah, they should be saying that. Well, y'all been the one that's saying acting like it's no big deal.
Yeah, I got a call today from someone that said that with the zero tolerance, um, that they were afraid that it'll be used against us because you know how some of our kids walk around and they say it in a way where it's just like it's nothing to them.
Yeah, like it's a term of endearment.
And
like it's just
then
nothing.
and that they would be um subjected to whatever punishment that we answered this young man get.
But see, that's my thing is when our culture has sat there and act like this word has been okay for years. And you notice that even when we act like it was okay for years, it didn't become a bigger issue until we started allowing other races to think it's okay. I've seen Asians say it. I've seen Hispanics say it. But you don't see black people running around calling them the S word. So now they take what we've allowed to be okay and use it against us in that way. It's always a game that we always catching up too late. Even though you have people like us informing them of what's going on, the majority want to act like they want to be okay with everything. Then they end up catching up late, and then they flip the cards on the game like they always say a race card. I always remember people don't who cares if we play the card? They created the game. So now we have a card that we can't play because we've allowed them to use that card so much. Now, if he's punished, it's a zero tolerance. So those kids who say it to each other, black kids maybe, will get punished as well. Yep. And people wonder why there was a Malcolm and there was a Martin. People get tired and fed up. We always got to be divisive. They became on one accord somewhat later, but people always wonder why. Because we have so many of us who don't sit. Yes, you don't have to be on pins and needles and on ready and on anger for everything. But why we always got to be the most forgiving, most accepting, and then get stepped on the most? The most forgiving, the most accepting, and get stepped on the most. That's why the politicians have that mentality. Let's go around into these churches during election time. And then after the election, stay in your lane. We doing what we can do. You just have to wait. They got a whole new dialogue and a whole new dialect and a whole new tone for you though when it's election time, when it's qualifying for them elections. So true. I'm talking about straight using the N word. What's up, man? And I'm like, you look like a piece of paper. But our people okaying it, accepting it. It's in the music. Everybody want to blame music. Like I said before, we had that conversation on it before. Now I don't blame everything on music because the N word been in music for years. But it's been in these most recent 5, 10, 15 years where y'all sitting here allowing these people to say this to you, dap them up with it. Then when you see them saying it to each other, I've seen a couple of white guys in the store saying it to each other. So now you got their parents who know it's wrong, but they use their reverse psychology and really not even reverse psychology. They use it against you, what you allowed, or what you at least didn't speak up for.
Well, y'all, my time is about up. I got another busy weekend coming up. And I think I heard a couple people one time before earlier. Mike, I don't know who it was, but we
You
had.
know, I think you've been the same.
So we gonna end on that and get ready for Thursday. I guess we're gonna have to ask the question on Thursday. Is the N word appropriate for any race? I mean, even among ourselves, because I heard something Lisa said earlier that about the caller saying that the zero tolerance. It will, I think, and I have to look more into it, but I think it would be used against us because it's a everyday it's an everyday terminology for some of us, not all of us. But it's an everyday terminology that young people these days use, and it would be a easy way of, I guess you could say, sanctioning our own behind our own terminology.
Well, Daryl,
Mm-hmm.
when I talk differently at home than I do at work,
We all do.
I have a professional persona that I have to maintain in the workplace.
I understand.
And if like if we sitting around having a good time and we playing cards and shooting and shit, our dialect change.
Mm-hmm.
It does, but that's part of training the kids at home.
But that's what I'm about to say. But when we train our kids at home, they were young, they knew better.
Yeah,
and they did better.
We dealing with a whole different breed right now.
It's some of those same kids there. It's like what we always taught, what we taught, and we taught our kids. You at home, this is okay. And our kids knew. Those kids are very, very smart, very intellectual. They knew to talk a certain way at home with their sisters and brothers, and even with their parents, as opposed to when they're at school or when they're at church or when they're out. It's not a hard concept. It's just that some of these kids are doing what they want to do, and parents are okay with it. It's like the village mentality that we always talk about. Don't say nothing to mine. Well, they might be doing that, but who is you to say something to them?
Yeah.
And 5 and 6-year-olds, they knew that you talked a certain way at home that you did out in the public.
And if they want to try to use it against us, that's when you get someone that's going to be more culturally sensitive to oversee our students in the school. Because they have discretion right there as police officers. You know, police officers have a lot of discretion and how they in making arrests, right?
Correct.
So, use some common sense. I know when somebody's saying something to be mean and hateful versus when they're saying it, I don't want to say as a term of endearment, but when they're saying it like that's just, and they don't mean to say it in a hateful way. I'm not saying that it's okay to use at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when it comes to administering punishment or oversight, you got to use common sense. Because why would you then turn around and say, oh no, we're going to treat everybody the same as you're trying to be retaliative, right? Mm-hmm. When you know you still aren't applying it the same.
Right. Expecting the same, but not applying it the same.
We got to be careful who we put in these schools over our kids.
I agree.
And my thing is, when it comes to that word or any word similar, because there are a lot of racial slurs out there. So when it comes to that word, I can be okay with saying it's not allowed across the board. When it comes, as long as the punishment is fair. As long as the punishment is fair, that's always my thing. Be across the board. And yes, our kids have learned to say that, and it's just, but like we said earlier, there's certain things we were taught that you don't say at home, that you don't say out, that you say at home. People know there's certain things that you say at the job, like I said, that you don't say at home at the card around the card table, or when you amongst your kids or your family. Why is it so hard? Why do we? I think, and I'm not going to lie, I feel like it's our fault that we've allowed that word to be so easily used against us. Want to be able to say it so much. I wouldn't want to say it so much. Not to say I have never said it, but if you can start getting down to this kind of stuff, the way things are going on in this world right now, I wouldn't want to say it. If it means you're going to try to use it against me, because it was always started as against us anyway. It wasn't ever meant for no positivity. The people just like, it behooves me. Oh, we took it and we made it. We made it a term of endearment. We made it ours. That's your justification. That's what you're doing. That's your justification for saying it. It's like Kai said in the comments, it's some grown black folks okay with it. That's just your justification for saying it. Because we said so long. And yeah, it was meant to be derogatory. And even way, 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 way back then, when it was said to one to another, it was because we knew that that's what the other folks said in a derogatory way. And 9 times out of 10, when we said it to each other, back then it was out of anger. I talked to my great grandparents. My great great grandmother lived till I was 15. Their word was always said to pierce the feelings. Even it was one black to another, it was said to pierce the feelings. And then slowly, eventually, it became a little bit more accepting and accepting. And so now everybody wants to be able to say it. So now we sitting here looking like whatever's done with it is going to be used against us. Still. And now it's almost like we contributed to it.
You know, when we did the press release, somebody said, "Are you going to use? Don't you think you need to change that word up?" No, because if you think that is inappropriate to put in a letter, right, in a news right, then you know that he shouldn't have said it.
Exactly.
You know he shouldn't have said it.
Why change up his word? That's the whole purpose of the letter.
I would never change up his wording. He said what he said.
And he meant it the way he said it.
He said what he said.
in a derogatory.
And he meant every word of it.
In a demeaning way. Maybe if that's what we can get them to understand. Do y'all just simply explain the word demeaning? But of course, you're gonna always have those of us who, because it's what they want to do. It's demeaning. And when they say it to you, you can best believe it's not a homie thing. And then, how do you know? How do you know? Because he's cool with you? Because he's cool with you. I just saw two. I've not just, but I've seen two talking in the store, saying it to each other, and I'm looking around like, yeah, I'm even looking around saying, is they talking to a black guy? Oh no, they talking to them. They talking to each other. Because now it's just a term. It's just a hip term used. Yeah. But piss them off, that hip term becomes something to beat you down.
It becomes weaponized.
Exactly.
It weapon.
And that's the way he used it. And that's the way he used it.
He weaponized it. So I agree, Veronica. It needs to be unilaterally across the board, and we just gonna have to retrain our kids.
Well, let's talk about that on Thursday. See if that's even possible. Reevaluate it or make some revise it, whatever. Let's talk about it on Thursday. It's been a long day for me, y'all. And
yeah, and it's what, 10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30. You know, we got started late, so.
Oh, shoot, it's bad. My bedtime. Good night.
I know what time it is now.
So she wide awake. She wide awake.
Well, we'll talk on Thursday.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Good night.
All right, y'all. Have a good